5 in the Always Sunny in Sayreville League, and there are no more undefeated teams. It took 5 weeks, but every team in the league now has at least one loss. Injuries this week. Steve Smith Sr. and Jeremy Hill the first, presumably, both left their games with injury and did not return and have been either limited or not practicing this week, so there's a decent chance that those guys will not be available in Week 6. Eric Decker and Charles Sims will definitely not be available in Week 6 because both of those guys got placed on IR this week. So RIP Eric Decker and Charles Sims. Now I'm going to have a much more in-depth report on the injuries that have happened so far this season and potentially some of the injuries that might be coming up in the future. That report is going to be in the next week or 2 or 3, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, thoughts and prayers go out to Jesse James Decker and Charles Sims' old lady too. I'm sure she's pretty nice. The high scorer this week was Ezekiel Elliott, who scored 36.1 points, leading the Moth to victory over Devontae's Inferno by a score of 155.7 to 144.1. The Moth moved his record to 2-3 and dropped Devontae's Inferno's record to 3-2. This game was a high-flying, high-scoring slugfest, and when the dust settled, the Moth had the highest score of any team this week. The Bootleg Crableg pushed their record to 4-1 this week with a win over Team Blumpkin, 120.1 to 116.8. This 3.3 point margin of victory was the closest of the week. The Bootleg Crableg celebrated Brady Week in style as the quarterback and keeper returned from his 4-game suspension, well deserved, to score 34.6 points and lead the Bootleg Crableg to victory. Now, the Blumpkin actually had a chance to win this game on Monday night, but the Panthers defense and the Panthers kicker completely shit the bed, and he lost a heartbreaker, sending the Bootleg Crableg to 4-1. Alright, so now it's time for the hero and the GOAT, but before we do that, it's Week 5, and that means it's time for Odd Sundays. So let's kick it out to Seattle for a point of view that's a tad askew.
Hello, Always Sunny in Sayreville. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm shooting live from the soundstage of the movie Seven. This is Odd Sundays. I am your host, Colin McKinnon, owner and operator of the hard-charging Rutherford B. Hazy. It was kind of a boring week in the league, but a few things of note happened. Despite a valiant effort, 3-Head and the Giants lost to Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field. And I do apologize to anyone that has Randall Cobb. Bucks beat the Panthers, so maybe Cam Newton should start eating more crab legs, just saying. He's not very healthy right now, is what I'm saying. And in my favorite game of the week, Rex Ryan walked into the foot fetish capital of these United States and stomped on Jeff Fisher in his own house. Now that's great. And in the true shocker of the week, Pretty Boy and the Patriots are still good. Touchdown Jesus and the Browns are still not. Good luck to everybody next week. Thanks, commish.
Thanks, Colin. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Alright guys, now it's time for this week's hero. The Rusty Strombone knocked off the top team in the league this week by a score of 141.4 to 132.5. This 8.9 point win put the first loss on the Golden Showers record and put the league on notice that there are no dominant teams, and parity rules the Always Sunny in Sayreville League. The Black Unicorn Martellus Bennett scored 30.7 points to lead the Rusty Strombone, and Average Amari pitched in 29.8. And the Golden Showers actually had a chance to win this game on Monday night when they needed 14 points, 13.8 points out of Cameron Brate, the tight end from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He got 4.8, one catch for 38 yards, and you thought, oh my, he's about to get started. I got a chance here. But it wasn't going to be enough, and the Rusty Strombone knocks off the Golden Showers. He outlasted a good team to win a close contest and took down the final undefeated in the league. And for that, the Rusty Strombone is this week's hero. Alright guys, now it's time for this week's GOAT. And I know I've said this before, but I really hate when it's gotta go down like this. Shower Hug lost their game this week by a score of 146.8 to 83.5 to She Gave Me the Crabtrees. This 63.3 point whooping was the worst beating of the week by a lot. Shower Hug had the lowest score of the week as 6 of their 9 players scored in single digits. In this game, Shower Hug came danger close to not even being able to start a full lineup of healthy players, but the injury report was kind enough to allow them to fill out their roster for the contest. And as of right now, Shower Hug is, by a considerable margin, the lowest scoring team in the league to go along with all those injuries. And for that, Shower Hug is this week's GOAT. Alright guys, key matchups. We have 2 matchups that we're going to be keeping our eye on. The first of which is between 4-1 the Golden Showers and 3-2 Devante's Inferno. Now this is a number 2's division battle that could develop into a new rivalry. The other key matchup this week is the oldest rivalry in the league. The rivalry that started before the league started. You suck at fantasy football. No, you suck at fantasy football. I was like, guys, we can settle this. 4-1, the Bootleg Crab Leg, takes on 2-3, She Gave Me the Crabtrees. For the 5th time in league history, Bobby J is going to take on Johnny Ortiz. Now, the all-time record is 2-2, so this is the rubber match. Usually they only play once a year. There's a scheduling anomaly that is allowing them to play twice this year, but it'll only be once from now on. But this is one of the great rivalries in the league. Should be great to see how everything plays out. But for more on the Johnny Ortiz Bobby J rivalry, we're going to go live right now to Florida and have a talk with the owner of the Bootleg Crab Leg, Mr. Johnny Ortiz. I'm here with John Ortiz from the Bootleg Crab Leg, live on the line from Florida right now. We have some connection troubles, but we're going to make it work. John, thank you for taking a few minutes.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem, man. You have a big matchup coming up this week with Bobby Johnson. So how do you feel about the game? How do you feel about your matchup?
Well, last year I started off the season hot, just like I did this year, and I ran into Bobby J, and Bobby J kind of put the nail in the coffin when I was struggling at the end of the year. I needed one win to kind of get myself in the playoffs, and he put the nail in the coffin for me to not be in the playoffs. So I'm having another strong season this year again. But I've faced Bobby J twice this year, so this would be the Crab Bowl Part 1, and I feel like if I could pull off a victory, this would put me in good position for the rest of the season. If I could pull off a couple of victories, maybe the next 2-3 weeks, I'm be sitting pretty. So this matchup is really, really important to me, and I like to get a little bit of revenge from last year. So, and I know this loss would hurt Bobby J. Got a ton of respect for him, but I'm out for vengeance. I need to beat him this week.
Yeah, the game you're referring to is the game last year in, I believe it was week 11, where you vowed that if you didn't beat Bobby J, that you would quit fantasy football. And after the game, you retired temporarily from fantasy football, hung your head in shame for a little while, but you were able to get it together and finish out the season.
Yep.
This year, if you lose to Bobby J, are you going to be quitting fantasy football, or are you just going to take it in stride?
You know what? If I lose this week, it's no sweat off my back. I think he needs to win a lot more than I do at this point in the season. I'm sitting in a better position than he is, so I think this game means a little bit more to Bobby J than it does to me in terms of record. But it is important to me because I would put myself in a better position when we're starting again in the middle of the season, and I want to separate myself from the pack. So this would be a big exclamation point for me to beat the guy that knocked me out last year.
So I don't know if you know this, but your all-time series with Bobby J is actually tied 2-2 all time. This is actually the rubber match. This is going to give one person the advantage for the all-time series for bragging rights. So does that change anything for you? Does that make it maybe a little bit more of an important victory for you?
I guess for bragging rights, it should, but like I said, we play later on in the season, so we can even it up and have the same exact thing happen, later on in the season that we end up tied. But if I could beat him, that would be awesome. And if I could beat him twice this year, then I'll start bragging a little bit. But I want to stay humble, and I want to wait to the end of the season. This is a week-to-week game that we're playing. So, I'm taking it 1 week at a time. Bobby J, he's put up some big points, man. He beat you this past week. So the guy's capable of scoring. His team is capable of beating me. So, I'm hoping that my team's finally back, away from the buys. So I'm hoping that my team, is finally coming together and, coming out, scoring at least. I have them projected at least for 140. They have that potential with Brady back, Ingram, Hyde. I have really strong running backs, and my wide receivers have been producing, and I have a pretty solid team all around, I think. I'm one of the only teams in the league that haven't got hit with the injury bug, so knock on wood. So I lucked out so far, so I'm hoping for a victory this week.
Well, thank you for taking a couple of minutes. I really appreciate it. Good luck in the Crab Bowl, although I hope both of you guys lose. That would probably be the most ideal thing for me. But in case that can't happen, I hope it's a good game and, may the best team win.
Yeah, thank you. I got a message for Bobby J before I leave. Good luck for the rest of the season, and I got a ton of respect for you, but I'm out for blood this week. I'm out for blood.
All right, so there you have it. John Ortiz from the Bootleg Crab Leg reporting live from Florida. John, thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, that's it. Week 5 update over. Remember to set your lineups. Remember that the tombstone can just get worse and worse by the week. You just got to hope that the Reaper doesn't come calling for you. And I will see you next week, where it's always sunny.